everyone. In today's video, we're going to be outlining 7 ways in which living together enables sustainable living. It's going to be a lot of fun, so let's cut to the chase.
You know when you're a kid and you hear something you don't understand and you get this weird mental image of what it is?
Yeah.
Well, for me, that thing was carpooling. I heard the word, I didn't know what it meant, and I just imagined a car with a swimming pool in back and little people diving in. I never bothered to ask about it.
It's really weird.
Anyway, at the Bruderhof, we share all of our possessions, and that includes our cars. There is not a vehicle per person or even a vehicle per family. Sharing vehicles means there's an added level of consideration before you take a trip somewhere. For example, if I want to take my family to the beach, but Melinda's got to go to the hospital, the priorities are obvious there.
Well, thank you. Bottom line, when vehicle usage is based more on need versus want, you travel less, and we all pay the environment a favor.
Next, shared housing. Here at the Bruderhof, each family gets an apartment with a living area and bedrooms. There's a common kitchen area with a fridge, oven, and all the other normal kitchen appliances. And that's usually shared by several families, like we have 3 families who share. Bathrooms are also shared for the most part. As you can imagine, there's a lot less energy consumption per person to heat those houses in cold weather. And some communities even use these centralized wood chip boiler systems, which are efficient and also environmentally friendly.
Granted, most people in the Western world would find this type of living arrangement a bit much. But if you realize that shelter is associated with 25% of greenhouse gas emissions, making changes in this area can have a real impact. And it's only relatively recently that we've come to think that living individually and all spread out is normal. And that's had its effect on the planet.
Yeah, I often think about that as I'm standing in line waiting for the bathroom. At least I'm doing my little bit for climate change.
I'm sure you think that. The next point's pretty simple. Communal meals means less people cooking and less cooking facilities and equipment used. It also saves on human resources. And because there's only a handful of people involved in purchasing food supplies, things are automatically simplified.
Not to mention, since only a few people have to go to the store, you reduce the amount of errands people have to do, which then, of course, reduces the amount of fossil fuels that are consumed. So that's another side benefit of that.
You also reduce the amount of angry people in line at the checkout counter.
Right. Yeah, I would be one of those very angry people. I'm sure. But fourth, local food. As much as possible, we grow food on our own property. That includes vegetables, poultry, beef, and so forth. We do end up buying some fruit, but here in the Hudson Valley, we can at least source a lot locally. While we're not 100% organic, our gardeners prefer regenerative farming practices and use environmentally friendly methods and products. And they keep experimenting with different aspects of sustainable farming. For example, Melinda, have you heard of compost concentrate?
No, I haven't. But part of the reason that using locally grown food is such a big deal is that it doesn't have to be shipped halfway around the world, which, if you think about it, is a crazy way to operate.
Another non-trivial aspect of this is by growing your own food, there's less packaging that goes in the trash. For example, we have a guy who brews beer, and instead of putting it in cans, which are wasteful, or disposable bottles, he puts it in reusable glass jugs. And by the way, it's insanely good.
That brings us to 5, reusing stuff. This one's actually a bit of a sore subject for me because I grew up wearing hand-me-downs from 2 older sisters, and I didn't always love it.
Sorry.
But it's cool, I'm over it now. And hey, if clothing, shoes, toys, and tools, etc. are still usable once you outgrew or no longer need them, then why not pass them on to someone else to use up? Intentional community life obviously makes this one super organic, but in terms of sustainable living tips, it really is something that everyone can put into practice.
Yeah, Roxanne and I just had a baby, and I'd forgotten how quickly they grow up. They grow out of their clothes, basically from one day to the next. But we were literally inundated with barely used baby clothes from folks on the community, and we didn't have to buy anything new. And once he's grown, we'll be passing them on to the next person. And the kids don't care, so why should anyone else care?
Yeah. This also applies to things you need but don't use all the time, like lawnmowers or camping equipment, mountain bikes, or even cameras.
Speaking of sore subjects, Melinda's always trying to borrow my camera. Number 6 is an old practice that has seen new life recently, minimalist living. We actually have a commitment to keeping our lives uncluttered by material things that predates Marie Kondo by a couple thousand years. Jesus speaks frequently about how the cares of the world and the lure of wealth are to be avoided. Sayings of his like, "You can't serve God and money," means very practically that we should beware of acquiring more than we actually need to live.
And finally, accountability is super important in all aspects of living together. Having a mutual commitment to one another and being open and honest with each other is critical to the success of an intentional community like ours. We actually talked more about that in our last series, which was on intentional community. But this is actually something which translates really well for sustainable living. Because sustainable living is not the most easy and convenient route, obviously, or everyone would be doing it, right? Surrounding yourself with other like-minded individuals who share the same goals or value the same outcomes and can hold you to your commitments makes living this way possible and sustainable. See what I did there?
Very clever. Well, hopefully this all doesn't seem too daunting. But if you're trying to decide how to live more sustainably, pick one or two areas to begin and find someone who shares your goals and can help you with the accountability. And then let us know how it's going in the comments throughout the series. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and also ring the bell to be notified next time we upload a video.